Look at the monitor and give the full name of this person.
Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler.
Hello, I'm Nardo D&D. I do all sorts of homebrew D&D stuff, like converting old D&D stuff into modern D&D stuff. But today I have for you some feats that I put together for some players that want to take a little bit of inspiration from another class, but don't quite want to go through the hassle of multiclassing, or maybe for the dungeon master that knows there can be some very broken multiclass builds out there, so they don't allow it, but wants something to fill in that niche still. I have made for you guys several multiclass themed feats for all my favorite classes, and if you don't see your favorite class in here, it's because there is already a feat that does it, or I don't like that class specifically and maliciously. But before we get into the video, look at this, and if you end up liking the video, I would really appreciate a like, and if you want to stay tuned and see what I make next, a subscribe is the exact way to do that for free, and the thing I think is the coolest is to comment down below so that I can see what you guys think about these funny feats. Anyway, let's get into the first one. Starting off with a wacky one, the Blood Hunter Initiate feat. It has the prerequisite of level 4+, as all feats that aren't origin feats do nowadays. It has an ability score increase, because why would I make a feat without an ability score increase? You can increase all of the stats relevant to multiclassing into a Blood Hunter. So it can kind of like get you ready to multiclass into a Blood Hunter if you like, because the requirements to become a Blood Hunter are 13+ in either Wisdom or Intelligence and 13+ in either Strength or Dexterity, which is a very wacky and wide kind of range of things. I think it's one of the most complicated ones to multiclass into, I think. You also gain Knowledge of Rights. You learn the feature of Crimson Rights and gain one right. You choose one from Rite of the Flame, Rite of the Storm, Rite of the Frozen, and that will determine the damage that your Crimson Right does, either fire, cold, or lightning. Your Hemocraft die for this right is 1d4, and if you're confused by all those words, because that is entirely Blood Hunter jargon, what it means is you can take a d4, and then until your next short or long rest, you deal a d4 of that type of damage with all of your weapon attacks, or with the weapon you enchant with this attacks. And by take a d4, I mean you deal 1d4 necrotic damage to yourself that you cannot reduce in any way. You can read more about it by going to the actual Blood Hunter class thing if you want a very in-depth, but that's basically the long and short of it. It's a little increase in damage for a little damage that you invest at the beginning. It's really just a straight increase in damage. Very cool. You also gain Knowledge of Curses. Choose a blood curse with no level requirement. You may perform this blood curse once per short rest. The DC for this blood curse is 8+ Wisdom or Intelligence modifier plus proficiency bonus, as is a lot of normal things. Your Hemocraft die for this blood curse is 1d4. Now, a blood curse is a lot like an Eldritch Invocation, where they range wildly in what they can do, and a lot of them are just like hindrances to the enemy or slight buffs to yourself. There are a few that you can use as a reaction in response to certain attacks or things that happen during combat. So there's a lot of like versatility there. It is like an Eldritch Invocation in a lot of ways, but that is what you get for that, and I think that is a great way to gingerly introduce the Blood Hunter mechanics into a character while not fully committing into a class that isn't like very fleshed out. Well, fleshed out. It is quite fleshed out. I think it's quite a good class. I think it's made quite well and balanced even. But one that people don't have too much experience with. That's a better way to say it. But yeah. Next feat. This next one's less wacky. It's the Bard Initiate. You gain an ability score increase to your Charisma, as one would expect. You gain the trait Novice of Inspiration. You gain one additional use of Bardic Inspiration, meaning you had 0 if you weren't a Bard before this, so you have 1 total now. This Bardic Inspiration uses a d6, unless you have a higher Bardic Inspiration die already, like if you're a Bard and you take this feat, maybe just to get another Bardic Inspiration, you know, that kind of thing. In which case you use the higher die if you are a Bard already taking this feat. You recover the use of this Bardic Inspiration on a long rest or whenever you would regain Bardic Inspirations, because at 5th level, Bards regain them on a short rest. So if you're a Bard taking this feat, you would regain it on the short rest, but otherwise, if you're just like any other class taking this feat, you would regain them on the long rest. You get your 1d6 that you can use as a bonus action to give someone Bardic Inspiration on a long rest. You also gain Bardic Studies. Choose a level 1 spell from the Bard spell list. You always have that spell prepared, you can cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it in that way when you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this feat's spells. You choose which one of those abilities when you select this feat to use. So that is worded in the exact same way as all the other initiate feats, like Magic Initiate and the other Initiate Druid. I think they're all one now. Magic Initiate is the Druid, Cleric, and Wizard Initiate thing all rolled into one. So those are all like combined. So you can use whatever you want for the casting stat of this, and this is the same as that, just to keep it in line with how 5.24e is doing things. It's pretty good. You get a lot of like fun spells with that. You can have color spray, maybe comprehend languages, cure wounds. Those are all great spells to pick from. So that's what you get with the Bard Initiate. Let's move on to the next one. The next one's Artificer Student, and I made this feat before I read Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which had an Artificer Initiate in there, but I still liked mine better, so I'm gonna keep it here. And if you guys want to use this one, like, that's cool. That's like the whole point. I made all of these for you guys to use. So you guys decide if you want to use it or not, and if it's better or what you do. It definitely does different things. It doesn't do the same thing. So let's go into it. Ability score increase for intelligence because it's an artificer. You gain Infusion Technician. You learn one artificer infusion that does not have a level requirement. In addition, you are able to maintain one additional infused item. So that's reason for why an artificer would even want to take this, not just anyone. However, the infused items I think are the coolest part about being an artificer. So getting like returning on like one of your fun throwing things, if you're like a rogue, that would be really cool, I think. You also gain Minor Artifice. You learn one artificer cantrip. Just fun. And you can pick really funny ones, such as Thorn Whip, Ray of Frost, Lightning Lure, all the best cantrips the artificer can learn, you know? And that's basically what I have for artificer today. It's a short one. It's not too much. I really like all the infusions they can do. I think that's pretty neat. Next guy. Okay, this next one is probably the whole reason I did the video and is the most versatile of all these feats. And I could even like see a reasoning as to take it multiple times. So this next one is Mystic Initiate. You get an ability score increase of intelligence by 1, because you know, Mystic, best class in the game. And by best, I mean my favorite. You gain Mystic Path. You gain 5 additional psi points and a psi limit of 1. So that means you have 5 to spend, and you can spend them 1 at a time. You gain 1 psionic discipline of your choice. You recover these psi points on a long rest. If you already have a psi limit higher than 1, then the higher limit will overwrite the smaller one. So if you're a mystic taking this, just to get another psionic discipline. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your psionic ability for this feat's psionic discipline. Choose when you select this feat. So just like the other ones, when you're trying to determine DCs and to hit rolls using the abilities from the psionic discipline here, you can choose which ability to use with that, whether it's Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma, because that's how all the other initiate things work. So even though it's definitely intelligence is like themed for Mystic, so is Wizard. Like, it's definitely intelligence themed for Wizard, but the Wizard one is allowed to be used with Charisma in the other magic initiate thing, so I figure it's fine and it makes the most game balancing sense for this to also do that in the same way. However, this one's very versatile because a psionic discipline can do anything. You can do healing with a psionic discipline, you can do maneuverability, like doing like minor misty steps. With a psionic discipline, you could boost the power of range attacks by having Nomadic Arrow as your psionic discipline. That could be really fun. Look at that, what that does. Look at this Nomadic Arrow thing. That's neat. I'd pick that if I was like an archer man. And besides that, you also gain Psionic Awakening, which you learn 1 psionic talent, and psionic talents are just psionic cantrips, essentially. So you can get Mage Hand or the one that knocks them down that you're seeing right here. All those available. Really cool. I would love if anyone took this one and lets me know what they would pick for their psionic discipline and how they would mesh well with their character. I would love to hear fun combos involving that, because I am a big fan of psionics, and I'm just gonna keep on standing them until I'm gone. That's me. I'm the psion thinking person. I love Mystic. I love Mystic. Next one. This one is Paladin Initiate. You gain an ability score increase to your strength or charisma score by 1. And you gain Sacred Spell. You get to choose a level 1 spell from the Paladin spell list. You always have that spell prepared. You can cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it in that way when you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using any spell slot you have. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this feat's spell. I will be impressed if anyone takes anything besides one of the smites. I don't really see why you would pick anything besides one of the level 1 smites. Divine Smite's the really good one with the D8s. You could do like Burning Smite. I like that one too. That's like a funny one. It does fire damage. And then you also gain Healing Hands. You gain the Lay on Hands Paladin feature. You gain an additional 5 points of healing for your Lay on Hands. So if you have 0, which you would if you're any other class besides Paladin, you would have 5 total. But if you are a Paladin, you gain 5 more. So think about that however you like, but that is how it would work. And that is the Paladin. This is a short one. It's a quick one. We're starting to like rapid fire through these, you know? Not much to go through. If you would pick something that's not a smite, I'd love to hear what you would pick from the Paladin spell list to make something broken. That'd be pretty funny to hear about. Okay, next one. Ranger Initiate. Initiate. You get an ability score increase of your dexterity or your wisdom score by 1, and you gain Trained Hunter. You learn the Hunter's Mark spell. You always have that spell prepared. You can cast it once without a spell slot, and you're going to gain the ability to cast it in that way when you finish a long rest. Very neat, very funny. You also gain Naturalist. Choose a level 1 spell from the Ranger spell list. You always have that spell prepared. You can cast it once without a spell slot, and you gain the ability to cast it in that way when you finish a long rest. You can also cast this spell using any spell slot you have. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this feat's spells as a treat. So yeah, I couldn't really come up with anything besides just Hunter's Mark and a spell for Ranger. If you guys would think of something else, like maybe like something bow related, but that felt like more just weapon mastery, just feat gaining things. This is more like, what does it mean to be a ranger? And what it means to be a ranger is getting Hunter's Mark and learning Goodberry. Like, those are the best ranger spells in the game, I think. So I think that's why I went in the way that I did, for these reasons. What ranger spell would you guys pick? Alright, next one. Rogue Initiate. You gain an ability score increase to your dexterity by 1 to a maximum of 20, as all of them are. You gain the benefit Practiced Subtlety. You gain 1d6 sneak attack damage with all the normal restrictions that come with the sneak attack feature. If you already have sneak attack dice, this gets pulled together with those dice. So if you're a higher level rogue, you can add an extra d6 in there and then do your cunning strike attacks with more things to spend on them. Like maybe you want to do a trip and a poison as a treat by spending lots of d6s. Like what a fun time that would be. And then you get the second benefit, Connections. You learn the language Thieves Can't. So what can they do? They can't. Oh, this is like a joke. So the way I hear Thieves Can't in my games, it's like funny backwards talk. Like, it's more like slang and things that mean different things. Like that one episode of Adventure Time.
What the? What's wrong, guy? These aren't apples. Oh, it didn't mean diamonds? Oh, ne'er-do-wells call diamonds apples. Like calling money bread or rock knockers butter slaps.
Yeah, like that. So it's like they just replace funny words like, oh, the crow eats crack at midnight. And that means, oh yeah, the door's unlocked or something along those lines. So yeah, so that's pretty funny. I recommend you guys coming up with your own funny ways of talking in Thieves Can't with your players. It's always a goofy time to see what they come up with. Alright, next one. Barbarian Initiate. You gain an ability score increase to your strength, obviously, and you gain the benefit Anger's Lessons. As long as you are not wearing heavy armor, you may enter a minor rage as a bonus action. This rage lasts 10 minutes, just like a normal rage. While in a minor rage, you deal 2 additional damage with melee attacks that rely on strength. You have advantage on athletics skill checks and resistance to bludgeoning damage. Now, I didn't include any of the real downsides that rage has. Like it's you can still cast spells in this thing. You're just a little angry. You're not too angry, but you don't get all the benefits that rage normally gives you, like strength saving throw advantage and scaling increased damage. However, you don't really have to do anything to keep this one up, so you can just pop this and it's just a benefit thing that you have going for yourself for a while. So it's alright in that sense. It is just a flat mini damage buff for 10 minutes, so that's pretty okay. And bludgeoning damage is relatively common. The reason I pick bludgeoning damage and not piercing and slashing is I feel like bludgeoning damage is the easiest form of damage to make your skin resistant to relative to piercing and slashing, because you get real tough, and like if you get hit with a hammer, ooh, that hurts, but you're like real tough. If you get stabbed with a sword, ooh, that's still gonna smart a bit, I reckon. You also gain Recklessness. You may gain advantage on 1 melee attack roll on your turn. However, when you do so, all attack rolls against you have advantage until your next turn. So that's different than the Reckless attack from the Barbarian, because it only says 1 melee attack roll instead of all melee attack rolls when you do it. So it's just a worse version of Reckless attack. However, I think Anger's Lesson could be pretty darn good, especially when you stack it with a rage. Like, that could be kind of broken in a sense. I don't know. How do you guys think of the balancing issue in there? Anyway, that was the last one, so that's it for those. Thank you so much for stopping by. It is always a pleasure to have you specifically, you right now, watching the video. Always brings me a smile on my face that you're watching. I love it. If you liked it, please have a like right there. If you want to see what the next one is, do a subscribe if you're already subscribed. I love you. And the PDF is in the description for you guys at your browsing leisure. You can go and look and see all the spelling mistakes that I might have made in there, or just, show your Dungeon Master the PDF if you don't want to show him the video. But I'd show him the video, honestly. Like, if I had to pick between the two, I'd show him the video. He'll probably click on the PDF afterwards anyway, if that's what you're trying to do. And yeah, check out the other videos. They're pretty neat. I like the cantrips one. That one's funny, and a lot of people seem to like that one. A lot of people like the way I pronounce chitin in the items video about why my magic weapons. That one's pretty cool. And yeah, keep all of your eggs in the same basket. That way you have to carry less baskets. Bye.